Good morning. Today we're going through a full day of eating, some nutritional advice, what I eat to swim at this level to make myself better. Swum this morning and done some gym. So now we're on cooking some French toast because I was eating scrambled eggs on toast and I was just getting fed up of the texture of the eggs. I don't know, it was just getting a bit minging. So all that's in that French toast there is just 6 eggs, some cinnamon, some salt, 3 slices of bread. It's going to be about 80 grams of carbs, and about maybe 35 to 40 grams of protein, which is pretty spot on. I'm also going to be having some fruit with it, frozen fruit. Again, frozen fruit, fresh fruit, whatever. Much of a muchness really. Eat what you want. Probably just not tinned. I think in the processing of getting tinned fruit and veg, I think they lose a lot of the nutritional value. Similar to when you boil vegetables. If you boil vegetables, you lose a lot of that micronutrient benefit to the water. I don't think you can eat too much fruit or veg really, unless you're really taking the piss. But I've got some pineapple and some strawberries because they're both delicious. I've got in here, I've got juice of one. I've got a lemon squeezed into there, so I'll top that up with water. I'll show you. So I'm not a water snob, but I just refill these every night because it's a nice way of tracking water. So I've drunk 2 litres this morning already. And this is a good way of making sure that I definitely get at least 6 litres of water in a day. Now you might not need 6 litres depending on how big you are. I was 102.1 kilos this morning, so I'm pretty heavy. But if you're struggling to make sure you're drinking enough, and that's quite a nice way, because if you have a couple of days where you're having to neck 2 litres of water before you go to bed, you're up all night weeing, you'll soon learn to drink during the day. Right, this is the worst part of the day now. So I've got pure cranberry juice. Pure cranberries are really high in iodine, which is good for your thyroid, which is good for your metabolism. And if you get like a swelling in your neck, like in your glands here, that's where your thyroid gland is. And I noticed that was swelling. I read in a book that comes from an iodine deficiency because your thyroid's expanding to try and find that iodine. So I've got 120 mils of the cranberry. I'm going to add to that 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And now this is disgusting. You want cloudy because the active ingredient that's good for your stomach and good for your digestion is what makes it cloudy. So 2 tablespoons in there, and this is minging. But I'll be eating a lot of food today and I need to make sure it's all getting digested so I can utilise it. Worst part of the day. Oh, disgusting. French toast with a little bit of golden syrup, 8 grams of golden syrup, which is about 5.5 grams of carbs. Takes us to 80 for the meal, 25 grams per slice of bread. Some fruit, lemon, cup of tea. Beautiful. Also, it's about 10 o'clock now, so we finished swimming 8:30, and then had a post-training shake, which I'll show you in a bit because I'll be repeating it tonight. And in the gym, then back here. So it's been about an hour and a half since I last ate, which is about perfect. I'll be eating pretty much every 2 hours. It's about 10 o'clock now. I'll eat at 12, at 2, and then we'll swim this evening, and then eat again tonight. Right, 12 o'clock, time to eat again. Put some rice I cooked yesterday. Probably should have put it in the freezer or the fridge rather than leaving it out all night, but be right. It's not killed me yet. And then these big burgers. Cooked 4 kilos of beef on Sunday night. So that means I can eat three of these, but yeah, each of these burgers, 250 grams, 3 of them a day in the week, and 1 on the Saturday. So 50 grams of protein roughly. I'm going to do whatever, about 80 grams of carbs from rice, so about 100 grams of carb, bloody hell, about 100 grams of rice, raw weight, for about 80 grams of carbs. This meal I'll have an orange, that's out the microwave, looks edible-ish, and of course, like every meal, some salt. Don't be afraid of salt. We're swimming, we're sweating a lot, we need the salt. The salt's also good for transporting those nutrients into your muscles. The presence of salt improves the nutrient uptake and your carbohydrate uptake. So eat your salt, so it stops you cramping, except you didn't help me the other day. But yeah, that's it, meal 2. So one of the things sometimes people will wonder is, why beef? And why beef 3 times a day? Isn't that bad for you? No. And I think that's pretty self-evident. But I came across a guy called Stan Efferdin, who's written this book, The Vertical Diet. And a lot of the principles I follow are from Stan's book. So he was the nutritionist for Brian Shaw for a bit, the 4-time world's strongest man, and Thor Bjornsson as well, who was a world's strongest man, played the Mountain on Game of Thrones. And a lot of his was, a lot of the videos you can watch of him on YouTube are him talking about how beef is just a superior protein source to chicken, fish, whatever else people might tend to eat. And so there's a bit in here I've earmarked, just talking about going through the micronutrient comparison. So see, B12, zinc, iron, selenium, potassium, B3, less polyunsaturated fat, which is the bad fat, more monounsaturated fat, which is our good fat. So the type of beef doesn't really matter. So I'm doing mince at the minute into burgers, because similar to with the eggs, I just changed it up. So I've been doing steaks in the past, just fry them up, grill them, put them in the air fryer, something like that, lovely. Or just get like a joint of beef, like a 1.5 kilo joint of beef, put it in the oven, then weigh it and cut it into appropriate sizes. So if I've cooked 2.5 kilos of beef as a joint of beef, then I know that that's 10 meals. So when it's finished cooking, I can weigh it, and whatever that is, say, might have dropped down from 2.5 kilos to 1,800 grams. Then each meal is 180 grams cooked. These burgers are a little bit easier because I weighed them out before cooking, that each one's 250, so I could just get it out straight away. Yeah, beef is king. Eat beef and swim fast, unless there's a reason you can't, which there might be some medical. I'm not a medical person, but there might be some medical reason, I suppose. But otherwise, eat beef. Another thing I think people struggle with, or a big improvement people can make, is increasing the meal frequency. So you'll notice through my eating today that I don't snack, because I'm eating every 2 hours. What's the point in snacking, right? There's no point. Just eat proper meals. You can get a lot more benefit from those meals. Your snacks are typically going to be very low in protein. What's the point? You need at least 20 grams of protein to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. So whatever you're snacking on is not going to do that. It's probably high in fat, which is going to slow down your digestion. I'm eating a lot of meals in the day. I want my digestion fast, so I tend to eat fat in the morning, fat at night. In the day, less fat. Like that mince is only 5% fat, so very little fat in rice and fruit. meal frequency. You're better off eating, in my opinion, you're better off eating 4 or 5 smaller meals than 3 big meals. They'll sit better. You'll absorb the protein, the carbs. You'll be able to utilize that all better and more efficiently by eating regularly rather than just sitting and eating big meals. So that's difficult to do. Working with one of the other lads at Co-Master at the minute, writing his diet plan, and that's what he's struggled with now, is eating frequently. And it's something you just got to do. Just start doing it, because you can make those meals slightly smaller and just get into a habit. And that's one of the big things with our sport. Everything is on habits and routines. For example, like your fly kicks when you're swimming are going to get better because you practice the fly kicks. Your freestyle technique's going to get better because you're practicing the techniques your coach has been telling you. Your nutrition is going to be better because you're practicing these habits that you can refer back to every day. Habits are critical, really, for swimming well and having your lifestyle set up in such a way that you're not having to worry about anything. Better the habits, lower the stress, better the performance. It's simple. Spuds in the air fryer. They're going to go with one of the burgers that I've prepared earlier with some salady bits. We've got spinach, peppers, cucumber. And I've also got the meal for tonight prepared. So again, another one of the burgers, the rest of the rice, and some carrots and broccoli that I steamed a couple of days ago. And then I've got here, this is going to be the post-training. So I've got some cereal, which is this cookie cereal with a whey protein with some salt in it. So I've got 60 grams of whey, 100 grams of cereal. So it's about 40 grams of protein and just under 80 grams of carbs. So the cereal is pretty much the only thing I'm eating on a day-to-day basis. It's not a single ingredient. I suppose that and the bread. Everything else is one ingredient. Not too worried about the cereal because of the purpose of it, and the purpose is to get a lot of carbs post-training with very little fat. So this is 75 grams of carbs with only 2.5 grams of fat. So that lack of fat means it's going to absorb really quickly. It's got a high glycemic index, which means it's going to spike the insulin, which is going to help drive all them good nutrients into the muscles to help that recovery. So I do that every session, is whey and cereal, because I've heard some people talk about just having whey after you've been in the gym, but that doesn't make sense, because we're still doing muscular damage in those sessions where we're not in the gym, right? If we're swimming, whatever, even aerobic, you're still causing muscle damage, and we want that repair straight away. So I'll have that straight after, so we'll swim later, then I'll eat and then finish off the gym that I didn't do this morning. So I like to do my gym in halves. Benefits of the cereal and whey as well is that it digests really fast, partly because of the low fat and partly because there's like no fibre, nothing. It is just carbs and protein. It's going to digest really quickly, which means within an hour I'm ready to eat again, which is where that one will come in. I can come home and eat that and then wait a bit before I eat my last meal before bed. I think that's about it for now. I'll see you when it's all prepared. Is it 2 o'clock? Meal 3. Burger, spuds, salad. Lovely. Right, here we are. Back from training. It's pretty good. Some nice speed set and then some good lifting. It's about 8 o'clock. So we had the post-training about 6. This now about 8. Yeah, and you saw it earlier. Beef, rice, some vegetables. So all gone in, I don't know, for about 5 minutes. I've got some questions off our Instagram about the nutrition, the diet plan and all that, so we'll go do a little Q&A thing now. Sling this in the sink. So, first question, what do you consume on race mornings? Same as this morning. I think your nutrition on a race day should be pretty much identical to a race day, to a training day, because that's what your body's used to. That's what you're mentally used to. It's food you know agree with you and that you can swim fast on. So I think it's easier. Like for trials, I'll be in a kitchenette. I'll be in a hotel with a kitchenette, so I can cook eggs on a hob like I would normally do. It's a bit harder if you're in a hotel, but most hotels are going to do eggs, bread, your normal kind of. If you're eating porridge, you can have that. You take, but pretty much if you can, I would get a hotel with a kitchen, and then you can do your completely normal breakfast when you're racing. Next one, how often do you have a cheat meal? Probably every weekend. So I eat like this Monday to probably Saturday afternoon, Saturday meal 2ish, and then I'll be a bit of a free for all then until Sunday middle of the day, and then a good meal Sunday night and back on it again Monday. But yeah, once a week, and that cheat meal could be anything, whatever I'm fancying. I think it's important to still be able to enjoy something, and then like go out with my girlfriend or something like that, or family, friends, whatever. It's nice to be able to do something different. Top tips for eating 12 hash browns in a minute. I wish I could. I did 11 in a minute on our camp. Yeah, 12. That's the next target. How to get into a good routine to fuel yourself in the morning. From Jamie McCaffrey. Hey, mate. Yeah, so I think you've answered it almost in the question there. I think routine is important, knowing what you're doing when you're doing it. Sometimes I know people don't get hungry in the morning. That's fine. Change what you're eating. If your body can only handle a small meal first thing, just eat a small meal and then make up for that. Then eat more later in the day. Other things like I don't like eating before we train in the morning. I don't like it sitting in my stomach. So I just don't eat until after. And then some people I know, if you go for a walk or something in the morning, get moving, like a 10-15 minute walk, you get moving, then you might have some appetite. But I think is find a breakfast that you like, that's a good size that you're going to enjoy, and then get that routine that you can stick to. And if you want to eat later in the day, just save it. There's no rules about what foods you have to eat or when you have to eat it or how much. Foods to avoid. Just avoid anything that you don't like. Avoid anything that doesn't like you. So if you notice you get bloated with something, you feel sick, whatever. And then just avoid foods, for the most part, and avoid foods with loads of processing. So the fewer the processes and the fewer the ingredients, the better. So if you look on the back of your packet of whatever you've bought, if there's loads of ingredients, it's probably not the best. If there's one ingredient, beef, rice, oranges, whatever, it's probably good. Opinion on vegan athletes, Abby. Controversial, but I think as an athlete, if you're a vegan, you're cutting yourself short. You're leaving money on the table, essentially. I think there are so many athletic performance benefits to eating meat and dairy that it's very hard to eat enough protein on a vegan diet without over consuming fats, and that's where the difficulty is. So I've never tried to do a vegan diet. Maybe there are ways, but again, when we were talking earlier about processes in foods, a lot of the vegan stuff, I presume, like your fake mince or whatever, I presume there's multiple ingredients and it's just got more, it's a bit more chemically. So if you're a vegan, fine, but if you weren't a vegan, you could probably swim faster. You're still doing steak every day from Fonzie. I used to live with, yeah, pretty much, as we've seen, beef 3 times a day. Ideally, I would eat steaks, but they're well expensive, so 4 kilos of mince for the week will do me instead. And then finally, what supplements do you take? So I can probably do a whole separate video on supplements. Maybe I'll do that in a couple of weeks. But the main ones, I've got them here. So vitamin D, omega-3, vitamin C, that are all immune system benefits rather than just sporting. And then I take a probiotic because of all the food I want it digesting. That's also partly immune system. Omega-3, beta-alanine, and creatine. I think that's pretty much it. I'm just looking at the bottles I've got there. Yeah, so supplements are like a nice addition once the diet's in place. So because my diet is very routine, my hydration is very routine, these supplements I can add in and they'll have a benefit. And the last thing then is from T-Pain. Just said it's going to be a short video when it's just steak. And I think I've probably dragged it out quite a lot. So that's it for now. I've got one more meal to eat later. It's currently 8:20, so I'll probably eat that in about an hour's time once this meal's all digested. Right, it's about 9:30 as anticipated. Here's the last meal, which is a pint of milk, 30 grams of cashews, 30 grams of almonds. So I mentioned earlier, I tend to keep the fats either end of the day, so breakfast and last thing before bed, just because you need fats in your diet, but it obviously slows down your digestion, so it's good to have it at the bookend in the day, I think. The milk's full fat, again, because we're actually looking for the fat content. So if you manage to make it through this video, which I don't know how long it's going to be, it's probably nearly 20 minutes or something, well done. And if you've got any questions, feel free to ask me on here or on Instagram or something. Nice one. See you later.